Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie.
Yes, it's that time of the week again. Friday Night Racing on Off the Ball, brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Visit hri.ie or follow along on social at HRI Racing. Hashtag every racing moment. Neil Tracy here with you this evening, as always, joined by Johnny Ward. And tonight, Johnny, I know we're talking about a subject that's close enough to your heart. What happens to horses after they've been retired?
Yeah, we're going to have Suzy Barkley on, and it's going to be a topic that will be, in the news the next indefinitely really. What happens to racehorses when they retire? And we're going to have a frank discussion today about the options open to you if you have a horse that, might be finished his or her racing career, but that's not the end by any means, and horses can live great lives afterwards. And in fact, maybe they can enjoy retirement sometimes more than actually running down the field in horse races, because they can go on to different disciplines and so on and so forth. And I think maybe shine a light on just how beautiful that connection is between the person and the animal, regardless of whether it's racing or not.
Yeah, it certainly is. And on that, delighted to welcome to Friday Night Racing Suzy Barkley. Suzy is a former amateur rider and trainer, but now director of the Irish Thoroughbred Agency, who retrains and rehomes racehorses across Ireland and Britain. Suzy, afternoon. Thanks a million for joining us on Friday Night Racing.
Not a problem. It's lovely to get the opportunity to chat to you about what we're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, so on that, I might just start off by asking, what is it like, right, for someone that doesn't really know too much about this industry at all? Can you just explain what the Irish Thoroughbred Agency does and the importance of it in the industry?
Okay, well, I'm in partnership with the British Thoroughbred Agency, and basically together we source out ex-race horses through the trainers. Now, it started off that we sort of had to source them. Now they're coming to us. So all the trainers, after the horse has either finished racing or for whatever reason not been good enough, or even never got actually to the racetrack, they need them to go on to do something else in their life. So we bring all the horses up to my yard, Bluestone Lodge, and all these horses get a chance to chill out. We then assess them and see what would be the best place for them in their next chapter in life, actually. And we take a lot of time to do that. And then Monique, who is my partner from the British Thoroughbred Agency, together we sit down. She has lots of people who want these horses, so we match the horse to the rider, and then the horses go to their next stage in life. And it's absolutely brilliant. There's a non-racing agreement, and there's an aftercare service, and also we make sure that if this doesn't work out for whatever reason, we will rehome them again. So basically they're in the system forever, you know.
And just one, would you say that there's a non-racing agreement, so that horse absolutely cannot be put out to race again?
No, the horse cannot go back into racing. That's a very important part of this. And the horse, we are not putting them into homes where somebody's going to be then rehoming them. You know, these people, it's for life. They know it's a forever home. And unless something happens and their circumstances change, these people, we have them really, really well checked that that's what they want to keep this as a forever family horse. And
how did you segue into this then from your background as amateur jockey and trainer?
Well, I was training a small string always, and because of my love for dressage, I suppose all the horses were always schooled that way, and I did dressage with them. I did racehorse to riding horse class, and then I always worried about after the horses that were finished racing, I couldn't find anywhere that I was happy to let them go to, so I just kept them. So I had all these horses here that were just doing not racing, and I then rehomed one with Monique Lyle of the British Thoroughbred Agency, and started to get involved gradually. That I realised this was really, really good, that these were proper places the horses were going to. So we decided we'd go into business together and make a difference to all those horses that are, you know, if you like, have nowhere to go after racing.
And what is it then that these horses are going on to do after you've brought them in and you've worked with them and figured out what their skills are and what you'd like to do with them? How do you decide what a horse is going to go on to do after you're finished with them?
Well, I suppose when we evaluate them when they're here, they've had a bit of chill out time. So the thoroughbred horse is a very intelligent horse, and most of them can go on to do something. So when you start to retrain them, and then we realise what the people want. I mean, some horses, if they've had some kind of injury and they can only happy hack, well, then we make sure that the match is perfect. And there's a lot of good riders out there, and there's a lot of riders that also, want to start again with these horses and totally retrain them. And they go from happy hacking, low grade eventing, low grade show jumping, and some of them, progressing. But the people that are getting them are being very, very good at giving them time to, go up. Like Johnny's horse, we rehomed
just
Johnny's
looking
horse.
at him here actually now on the monitor, Suzy.
Yeah, we're actually just playing. We're
looking at him on the monitor
in
here.
the studio here in front of us. We're actually just playing a small little clip that our viewers on YouTube and social
Johnny's
will see
horse.
of Johnny's horse, Georgie Shore, I believe it's called, Johnny. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So you were saying about him. Sorry, Suzy.
Yeah, he came here, and we saw that he had a great jump, and then this girl who does some team chasing, she wanted to rehome him, so it was a perfect match. And I mean, it's amazing. She only has him maybe 2 or 3 months, and it's amazing what she's doing with him, as you can see. I mean, so he's going to go on. He's been chosen to go on to an inter-hunt team, so he's going places, even at his age, So it's amazing to see that. I mean, it just is really brilliant.
Yeah, that's how the story of this happened for me, in that I had no idea about this service, and I was actually a little bit dumbfounded that it would exist, that you could have this demand for the older horse. Because when Georgie Shore finished up in training, he was 12 going on 13, and I'll say I wouldn't have the land or the wherewithal to look after a horse. I mean, unless you're going to like into the West and put him on the balcony on the 5th floor, like in Fatima Mansions, which I don't think that was going to suit. Like, so he was in County Meath with Liz Davison and the daughters Freya and Jess, and they were looking after him. And Liz would have been a sister of the late Mary Davison, who was a very good breeder, bred Ivawood or whatever. So they have a racing background, so they were able to look after him. But give or take, it's like maybe 300 quid a month to keep a horse just on grass, like. So it's expensive, and his training days were over. So I said to Gavin Cromwell, who's the ex-trainer, have you any idea what to do here? And he put me on to Suzy, and the relationship me and Suzy have had since has been great, because even though the horse went from Meath to Britain, I'm still getting back these videos of the horse that I've relayed to the girls who were looking after him in Meath, and they were. Initially, it was funny, Suzy, because they were like, what are we going to do with this fella? Like, there are all these yearlings in the land and so on. But then by a few months later, they'd gotten so fond of him that they were kind of sad that he was leaving. It was like the surrogate mother who had to give up the baby. So then...
And they rang me when I got him. They were all concerned about, and can he come back if we don't get him rehomed? Yeah.
And then obviously we've had the relationship. And then I was on to Gavin today, and I was saying to him on the WhatsApp, I said, and I quote, because Gavin Cromwell trained the horse and he won a race in Galway. I said, we've Suzy on the radio today, and he replied, I'm happy with her. So he actually thought I was on about his star filly Quick Suzy as opposed to Suzy Barkley. But there you go anyway, Suzy. Yeah, so...
Yes, but I've rehomed, I think 5 or 6 from Gavin already. So, he's been a great supporter of ours. I mean, we're becoming like the place to go to when a trainer's horse is retiring. I mean, I'm on speed dial for a lot of the trainers now. It's really taken, and I must say, we sponsored 2 races in Downpatrick. I'm a long-time friend of Richard Little's, and he suggested it would be a very good platform to let people see what we're doing. So now we've done 2 races at Downpatrick, and it's really, really, really helped us now get out there so that the trainers are, really knowing what's going on. Because to be fair, the trainers really are happy to see the horse going and doing something else, and it's sort of taken off big time.
And Suzy, would people like Johnny, for example, be the kind of person you would be dealing with regularly, who wouldn't have the means or the land to keep a horse themselves after they've finished in race training?
Yes, well, mostly the trainers would talk to us, but obviously they've talked to their owners who wouldn't have summer or wouldn't even, some of the owners aren't even horsey, they just own a racehorse. So they've told the trainers, like, ask the trainers what to do. And because now the trainers have this service, they're all ringing us. And like, it's so important that, you know, they know where to go to, because I think a lot of these horses were, you know, lost before. And a thoroughbred horse is nothing nicer than a thoroughbred horse to go eventing. I mean, Monique does it in England, and she's got some really nice horses that have gone on to do eventing, you know, into the proper eventing, and she's been doing it for 11 years, so she has. I've only come on board this last year, but we've got a great partnership going, you know, from strength to strength.
Yeah, that was actually the next bit I was going to ask you. Like, how long have you been involved in this? But yeah, you've just said it's only around a year that you've really been involved in this?
Yeah, just really a year. I mean, I suppose with everything happening last year, and I rehomed one of the horses and met Monique, and she's been doing this for 11 years, and we had another member of staff on the team is a lady called Jo. She's the office manager, and she totally, you have to take her hat off to her, because she might get 200 inquiries in, and she sort of like sorts them all out, and then the next batch go to, when it's pressing down a bit, they go to Monique, and then Monique sends them over to me, and we would do the video calls and the necessary phone calls. So the whole thing is a team effort, and as I say, this last year has just been amazing, just amazing. It's how it's gone from strength to strength with Monique on board, and it's just great.
And where would you be based out of, Suzy?
I'm near Craigavon, up in Donaghcloney, a place called Donaghcloney. So she's obviously in Gloucestershire, and I'm here, but because a lot of the trainers in the south, Paddy Burns, he's a great character in racing. He would transport. I just ring up Paddy, and he transports them all over Ireland up to us, and it helps the process, because you have to, like, we would have 10 here at all times, and probably 4 going out a week. And so we have to keep the ball rolling and keep them coming in. I mean, there's more to come in really than, you know, getting them here quick enough is basically, at the minute, we're very busy.
Yeah, that was the thing as well. So, like, Suzy organised that the horse was collected. I even met somebody kind of in Dublin to give the horse passport, and like it really did take the effort out of it for, you know, somebody like me who doesn't have a horse box or whatever. And you know, within a few days, Georgie Shore had a new life, and like he could only be halfway through his life. Who knows, you know, he's going to have a great fun time with an owner who seems to have just taken to him like, you know, it's a new baby in the family. You know, just in the photos you were sending me, Suzy, just seems to be a great bond between them already.
Yeah, she's had him out hacking and everything, and then she was even riding and leading another horse off him at one point. She just adores him. We find that a lot of them, we get a lot of feedback. I mean, there's 2 horses left here yesterday, and the people that are taking them are so excited and waiting on them, and I give them updates on, we've got great relationship. We use Gillies and Ken Gamble, and great relationship with the drivers, and they tell us where they are and where they're going to arrive, and these people are just, and they send you pictures as soon as they're even arriving, or, you know, they're just completely besotted with them from day one, and we could get pictures every 2 days. Monique is amazing on her, you know, all the social media and everything. She's really, really good at that, and I'm obviously busy with the actual horses, so the team is very good. The way we work together is really, really brilliant.
I'm always minded of when Fran Berry came on the show here. He retired after a fall. I think he did fall on the all-weather, but he had to retire. But thankfully he got out in one piece. But the fall that he had was it was quite serious at the time, and he was in hospital in England, and the nurses asked him what happened to him. And he explained, and they were pretty much, the nurse's general reaction was, oh yeah, but whatever about you, how was the horse? So there's this, yes. But it's interesting, Suzy, in Britain, and I think there's a bit of a British-Irish divide here in some respects, but there's an animal welfare kind of lobby in Britain, and there's a real worry for the animal after racing and even in racing, and I think stories like this are very necessary. In the greyhound industry, after the recent controversies, the Irish Greyhound Board has made a massive effort in rehoming greyhounds. And it turns out that greyhounds make incredibly good pets. And rather than you'd have this notion that if you have a greyhound, he's going to be dragging you around like the country running at 40 miles an hour. Greyhounds actually like to sit in the couch all day. So like they make very good pets. So that's like the greyhound industry has a real role, because that would be a beautiful way for, greyhound industry, I think, to get itself back into the public psyche. But in racing, which I think racing isn't in any jeopardy really at all in that regard, but it's a lovely story to show that Georgie Shore is having a great life now. He's really, he probably came to the end of his career and he was at a sense of loss, because he did enjoy his training. He was in a field on his own for a while, which wouldn't have been very enjoyable, and now he's kind of back to his old mojo.
Oh, and he's just, probably when he came at the start, we thought, was he going to be a bit strong, because he's a lovely big horse. But it's kind of weird, because I get the feeling when the horses come here, thoroughbreds are really intelligent. And once we sort of let them have a little bit of chill time and they all sort of meet each other and they're whatever in the field and whatever, it's almost like they know this is the next chapter in their life. They seem to get this chill out thing, and they're not really worried that they're going to go off. They know they're retired. I just get that feeling. And there was a lovely little 3-year-old came in the other day. Well, he was here, I suppose, about 2 months ago, and he was really quiet anyway. He never raced, but he was trained to race. But he was only a 3-year-old, so this father and mother were adamant that was the horse they wanted for their 16-year-old daughter. And apparently he arrived about a week ago, and he came off the lorry, and he was like, really just watching where he was walking, coming down, and they videoed everything for us. And we were sent a video yesterday of this 16-year-old girl long reining him in the arena with her trainer beside her. And apparently the yard have said, oh, when are they going to take the dope off this horse? They couldn't believe it was a racehorse, and they were saying, make sure it's definitely a thoroughbred, because the horse was so brilliant. And this child is going to start off from scratch with it, and she's going to learn with it and grow with the horse. And it's going to be a lovely story. I just know it is, because he was so sweet, and they're going to do a really nice job on him.
I think you've great social media potential as well to document the horses. Like when you say there are always 10 horses there, like it's almost like an Irene Roberts halfway house here, where these transients come and go, and they kind of find new homes and they get married or whatever. So like you can, it's not like quite Irene Roberts maybe but anyway, you can video these horses coming in and like kind of tell stories about them as they come in and how they change and where they go on. And I think people buy into that as well. I think like racing, horsey stuff does really, really well on social media, particularly stuff that people can relate to. And Irene Roberts.
Yeah, well, that Instagram is I have. I'm not all into it, so I just do the Instagram because it's very simple. It's the horse, the pictures of the horse, and the pictures of what they do, and then the pictures of them leaving, and then the pictures of them arriving. Like yesterday, I took the pictures of them going onto the lorry and the lorry leaving, and then, they're in transit, they get a rest somewhere, and then the lorry guy rings me, and then he gets another picture, and these people love to see where their horse is, and I would get a picture as soon as they arrive. And it's amazing when they arrive, they put them into a field or whatever, and they're standing there, and they've got the lovely head colours on them, and they're really, really delighted that when they get the horse. I've never yet had anyone that isn't, because we're very good at, it's warts and all. If the horse has the slightest scar or the slightest, this is all documented and it's sent over, and they know, they literally don't get any surprises when the horse arrives. It's as is.
How long would the horse be with you from the time maybe that you would either buy the horse or be given it by a trainer, and then by the time a new owner comes in?
Well, it varies. We've had a horse here only a week. As soon as it's been put up, somebody just wants it, and that's it. They just want that one. Some of them might be here 2 to 3 months. It really depends on the individual. If we think it'll benefit in any way, we keep them and do more work with them, or if the person wants that done. A lot of people want the blank canvas as long as we show every little thing they do. We'll video them going down the road and everything to show that they're good in the road. The other thing is, if we get an overflow at all, I would send some horses down to Anthony Fox. Anthony rode for me for years. He's a great rider in all disciplines, but he knows how to ride a horse. And if we get so busy, we drop some down there, and he schools them for us for a few weeks before we bring them up here and then send them on. So it all works and ties in, because some of the horses need more work than others, and you have to keep, give every individual horse needs that special touch, so that they really find their correct match and forever home.
Yeah, and I imagine going along with that and the importance of welfare as well with it, like how much screening would go into who is taking a horse from you? I'd imagine there has to be a huge amount of trust involved there.
Well, yeah, but the people are very adamant as well, because they always say, are we going to be good enough to get this horse? What do you need? And they will send us videos of them riding. They'll send videos of where the horse is going to go and be stabled, and they will totally make sure that they're okayed by us, as well as, vice versa. And the other thing that we have a rehoming documentation is filled out, obviously in the non-racing agreement, but also these people, if they don't suit for whatever reason, or they cannot afford for some reason, or their circumstances change in life, as anything can change, they then come back to us and we rehome the horse again, or bring it back here, wherever the case may be. So it's from now to the end of its days, where the aftercare, we are responsible for that, and we take great pride in that, actually, because it's all very well you get a horse away, but to not care what happens to it afterwards, that's so important that we do.
Yeah, from your point of view, is it important that you take that responsibility of, even after the horse has left, you still do have a responsibility over it?
Oh, very, very much so. And we've actually got recently, even for a double take, if you like, we've got stickers made, and it goes on, sticks onto the passport, and it's about, just in case something ever happens and the horse lands somewhere, we've asked the people to contact us if this horse ever, for any reason, just as a clause, because sometimes things happen that's out of people's control. So that gives us that little bit of extra, and we do. I mean, every 4 weeks we call between us. We have our list, and we call these people and get updates. We don't just wait for photographs. We actually contact them every 4 weeks, and they give us updates. And if there's any problems at all, we either help them through them or go from there if they're not happy with any of the horses.
And I imagine then when it all does right, and a horse has been passed on to a new owner, and you get those updates and everything is going brilliantly, I imagine that's a very, very fulfilling thing.
Oh, yes, the testimonials, we've got some amazing, you can probably see them on our Instagram page, but what they just send them back like regularly. They just love these horses, because I think a thoroughbred is an amazing animal. They're so intelligent, and I think when they realise what somebody wants of them, they give everything. And these people just absolutely adore the horse, and it just does your heart good to see that, because you've done a good match, and the horse is happy, and he's got his forever home. And I was always concerned. Always, when I was training horses, worried about, and a lot of the owners would have said, right, what do you want to do with this horse when he's finished? And I just used to keep them. And it wasn't ideal for me trying to train racehorses and keep as many non-race or horses not racing as I had racing over the years. So it's fantastic to see there are other options. It is absolutely fantastic, because I don't think, I didn't think there were, put it like that, and there are.
Yeah,
I think it's amazing. It's amazing there are people out there.
People might have a cynical view of racing as well. That it's all about gambling, and it's all about you train the horse and that's that. But there's a lot more to it than that, in terms of the bond between human and racehorse, and just the human and the bond that the new owner can have with the horse can be a special thing, and that's nothing to do with racing. There's no financial reward out of it, and the horse can benefit from that love as well. And I guess almost being given a second chance at life in the case of these horses that go over there. But there is that special bond, and I think it's something that's hard to explain, Suzy, maybe for people who haven't been around a training yard. That relationship between the horse and the person who mostly looks after him or her is a really unique and special thing.
Okay, all the stable staff are amazing, because they do actually love their horses, and sometimes they don't have any. If the horse leaves, they can't do anything about it, but they have a great relationship. It's a daily thing. It's somebody looking after something on a daily basis, and for the horse then it does your heart good to see that, because there are loads of people out there who just take such good care. They actually become, I suppose, like one of the family. You know, it becomes like their dog or whatever. This horse that has turned up in their life, and it's part of everything. You know, and I think it's so important because in racing, you know, I suppose as you say, people don't think that happens to them after racing, but it's amazing the good stories, and you know, you see horses competing all the time, and those racehorse to riding horse classes and all the ROR classes are amazing because they do have something, another future. You know, they really do. They're given a chance.
So Suzy, before we let you go, for those listening in who mightn't have caught this in full, if there is anyone out there who wants to find out a little bit more about you and what the Irish Thoroughbred Agency does, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram, obviously, and Irish Thoroughbred Agency, and it's the Irish and Thoroughbred Agency.org, finding forever homes for ex-racehorses, and it's all up there. We have a web page and Facebook page and everything. It's all up there. The two of them are combined, but my individual one is the Irish Thoroughbred Agency Instagram. So anybody very welcome to contact us anytime, and we will help in the process.
Suzy Barkley of the Irish Thoroughbred Agency, thanks a million for joining us on Friday Night Racing.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
So that was Suzy Barkley there of the Irish Thoroughbred Agency. A reminder, Friday Night Racing on Off the Ball is brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie. Johnny, some lovely stories in there. You know, to see what a horse is doing after retirement, and nice as well to have your own personal touch in there from your experiences with Suzy. She was saying how fulfilling an experience it can be when you see how well a horse can be treated after retirement. I imagine for the ex-owner of the horse as well, it's equally fulfilling.
Yeah, like there are probably a lot of people out listening out there who mightn't be into horses but have a pet, and like if you can imagine your pet kind of being taken away from you in the morning, that's something that will probably sadden you a lot. So like a lot of people are involved with horses that obviously get very attached to them, that work in the yards, and then obviously the horse, like she said there, has moved on, and it's actually hard for the people because they get such an affinity for the horse. So for me, like if you had Georgie Shore in training, that's give or take 1,500 quid a month. So that's like your standard enough training fees in Ireland. So obviously the horse kind of needs to be paying his way or whatever. But then, like, I think when I acquired Georgie Shore, he was already 10. So he was bought for like, I don't know, $4,000 or something. But he won a race in Galway, but then he got injured, and you know, by the time he ran his last race, and he actually ran very well, he was 12 going on 13, and racing was taking too much out of him at that stage because he'd probably had little injuries. He was just kind of getting a little bit lame after racing, so it'd be kind of like, I guess it'd be like Paul McGrath at the end of his career. You had to train him a lot less, and like at the end of a game he was probably shattered. So he was like that, except he certainly didn't have Paul McGrath's ability. But anyway, so then I was like, well, what do I do here? Because like I'd like the horse to do something else, but it was a bit like, are you going to be spending 300 quid a month essentially just to keep him in grass? So Gavin put me on to Suzy, and like I'm not going to lie, I was amazed that this facility exists because there are so many horses out there. But the specific, the likes of Georgie Shore, who's a gorgeous kind of big horse, loves jumping obstacles, there is actually a market for him that doesn't involve racing at all. And it was lovely to observe the relationship that his new owner got, and the text messages that she was sending back. And WhatsApp is amazing for this because, like, you can, the new owner in England, her message can be relayed to me effectively before she's even known she sent the message, you know, and I can, and then it's like you're part of that process, and it's so easy to see videos of him, and you know, and clearly enjoying himself and enjoying life. And you know, I just think it's lovely. I think she's only scratching the surface in terms of the publicity for stuff like this, because, you know, the most cynical anti-racing person can't but see the good in this.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a nice feel-good story. There are a couple of other bits I know you want to chat about before we finish up here. You were on the Sunday pay-per-view with Joe last week talking about the great Galileo and the legacy of Galileo after he was put to rest last week. But for the Friday Night Racing fans here, I know you want to speak about Galileo again.
Yeah, he came along to win the Derby and so forth, but most Derby winners, they don't make remarkable stallions. And Jim Bulger's been in the news quite a lot of late, obviously. But Jim Bulger was one of the people who put so much faith in Galileo when his stallion fee actually was reduced to 37 grand. And he then became basically one of the best stallions of all time, and his influence on the breed is going to be so big. I think more Group 1 winners than any other stallion. His dad, Sadler's Wells, was an unbelievable stallion. But the story all goes back to Vincent O'Brien, when Vincent O'Brien in the 60s went to the States with an American owner. And the American owner showed him a yearling, and he didn't like the yearling. And Vincent would size up a horse principally by looking at the horse's head. And, like, I mean, it's probably not a stretch to say, like, he could understand the horse maybe completely differently to anyone on the planet. He did have a way of like assessing them and finding beauty in horses that hadn't raced yet. And this particular horse he looked at that day randomly happened to be Nijinsky, who obviously became an unbelievable racehorse. But Nijinsky was by a recently retired stud stallion called Northern Dancer, and it was because he spotted that yearling effectively that set a train in motion of the birth of Sadler's Wells. Sadler's Wells then became an unbelievable sire. Sadler's Wells sired Galileo. Galileo sired Frankel, and Frankel then became the best horse possibly ever. And Frankel this year, just as his daddy passed away, has become, you know, the stallion maybe that people expected that he would. He's had an Irish Derby winner, he's had a British Derby winner, he's had the Falmouth Stakes winner last week. He has some really, really good horses. And on the other side of that, St. Mark's Basilica, who I think is officially the best horse in the world now, has exploded into life for Aidan O'Brien, and he might be Coolmore's ready-made replacement for Galileo. But it was quite a shock, because Galileo's been around as long as I've been following racing, and his influence will be around long after I'm passed away. And he's just this incredible implanting time and time again of a willingness to win in his stock, and that is really remarkable. You know, people that aren't into racing, they won't really, maybe they don't care about this, but Frankel was quite a highly strung horse, and a lot of his offspring can be a little bit highly strung, but Galileo is just time and time again, they were straightforward, they wanted to win, and his legacy will live on for a long, long time. But yeah, that was Galileo, and you can all trace this back, not to Aidan O'Brien, but actually to his namesake, Vincent.
Yeah, it's fascinating just looking at 91 individual Group 1 winners Galileo sired. And even looking through, I'm reading The Guardian here, the stud fees at €250,000 per cover.
Yeah, certainly more expensive than you or I. See, the stud fees are a bit they're a bit tenuous as well, because effectively Coolmore had the mares to send to him, so it wasn't like your everyday Tom, Dick or Harry could send the mare to Galileo. So what we now have is like this scatter of Galileo bred mares who are extremely well bred but have to find a stallion that's good enough to kind of go with the fact that they're by Galileo. So the dam side is perfect, but they need a stallion. Coolmore has kind of had a lot of war front in the pedigrees of these horses. I don't think that's worked out at all, and they've been looking for this new stallion to come along, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes, because there probably will never be another Galileo.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to sum it up. Finally, before we finish up, plenty of changes. Well, not plenty, but changes afoot in the tote 10 to follow standings. A pair of winners for you, Johnny. Bolshoi Ballet and Santa Barbara, bringing you within 15 points of Jura now. You're still in third place.
Well, interesting.
Tom Malone, running away with it still at the moment, is out in front. He is on a total of 279.54. Jur is on 150.26. You're back on 135.66. All to play for?
Yeah, all to play for. I need a bit of help from the two horses going to America, which is very interesting. Where on the day that Galileo died, Bolshoi Ballet, one of his more exciting sons at the moment, went to the States, where it all kind of began for Galileo, and won at Belmont. And
that was 91, as we just mentioned there.
Yeah, and 91 was also when 91 was also when Galway United beat Shamrock Rovers, and they're drawing them in the cup again next week. Who knows, 30 years on. But it was actually two great performances by and I was actually making this point as well today before we finish, because Japan, who's a very good horse, he ran in Leopardstown last night. So the Irish Champion Stakes is the best Irish flat race run all year. It's run in Leopardstown in September. Aidan O'Brien could provide, and this is just Aidan O'Brien, he could provide Love, Snowfall, Japan, Broome, Bolshoi Ballet, Santa Barbara, and two others whose names I can't quite remember at the moment. I was writing about the stake. Aidan O'Brien could have an 8-runner champion stakes that would be one of the best renewals of the race ever, just Aidan O'Brien, and you'd have each way terms. That's how strong he is in that division at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Well, Johnny, thanks a million for joining us on Friday Night Racing as usual.
No bother, yeah. There's been a lot of people in the hot seat over the last couple of months. You're number 7, I think, are you?
Is it?
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of people have come and gone. It's like the DUP leadership in recent months, but hopefully you last a bit longer than, yeah.
Prefer the Magnificent 7, but...
Yeah, well, I think, people have stepped in. Richie, even Nathan had a stint at it. Will, obviously the consummate professional. I had a go, So yeah, we're all giving it a go.
You prefer the sidecar rather than sitting up on front of the motorbike, do you?
I actually prefer to present, but yeah.
There we have it.
Yeah, you're an intimidating character.
Well, that's it. Johnny, thanks a million for joining us. Friday Night Racing on Off the Ball is brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie.
Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie.